Today's problem is longest common prefix, difficulty easy. So this is on Interview Bit in their 12-week interview preparation kit. You can go over there, pause the video, go over there, try the problem, then come back and we'll walk through it. All right, this is asked at Google. Problem description is given an array. In our case, we're actually given a list of strings A. You need to find the longest string S, which is the prefix of all the strings in the array. All right. Longest common prefix for a pair of strings S1 and S2 is the longest string S, which is the prefix of both S1 and S2. For example, if you had these strings here, the longest prefix is A, B, C. Problem constraints. Sum of length of all strings is between 0 and 1,000,000. Is that right? Yeah, it's easier when they express these in powers of 10, and then you don't have to count up all the zeros, especially when they don't put commas in there. All right, input format is a list of strings. Output format, longest common prefix. Example 1 really looks like the longest prefix there is A. And for input 2, it would be A, B. All right. Anything else? No. All right. Let's look at the algorithm. We can walk through example 2. Let me get a pen here. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. White, yes. That'll work. Okay. So we'll start out, initialize some variables. Longest empty string, letter, empty string, J, 0. Yeah, we're going to use that to keep track of what letter we are at in the strings. All right, while true. We don't really know how many times we're going through this loop. So while true. Int I equals 0. All right, that's going to loop through the words. I is less than A as size. I plus plus string word equals A. Get I. All right, so in this case, yeah. I wonder if there's a color here that would look good on both white and that might work. All right. So now we got this AB. Okay. If J, which is 0, is greater than the word length, which it isn't, return longest. No. If I equals 0, which it does, letter equals word substring J plus 1. So that would be the first letter. And that is A. Okay. For the first word, we need to keep the letter so we can compare it when we get to the rest of the words. All right. Else, okay, so the else doesn't apply. So we're still in the for loop. For I equals, I plus plus, I is now 1. Right? String, word, A, get, I. So we're going to get this, AB. J is not greater than or equal to word length. I is not equal to 0. So what we're going to do is compare word substring J plus 1, which is the first, which is the first, let's see, the first letter. Yeah, so it's still A. Is that equal to letter? And it is, so we don't do anything there. Still in the for loop. For int I equals, okay, so we're going to increment here. string word is A, get, I. So now we are here on A, B, C, D. J is not greater than the word length. I is not 0, else. So we check the first letter. Is it equal to the letter that we've saved in the letter variable A? And it is. So, what's going to happen is we're going to drop out of the for loop now because we've gone through all the words. So now we're down on line 22. Longest plus equals letter. So longest is now going to be A. And we're going to increment J. J is 1. All right. What's going to happen here is we're going to go through the same process again. And what we're going to find is that the second letter of each of these strings is also equal. Okay? So then longest will, in fact, go to A. Well, first of all, letter will change to B. And we'll see that the letter at index 1 in each of these words is B. All right, so long as it's A, B, J is going to increment. It's going to be 2. And when we go through here again, we are going to find out on word 2, the second word, that J is in fact greater than or equal to the word length. J is 2. So we can't have a prefix that's longer than the shortest word. So we return longest, which is 2. Okay, I should say one thing here about edge cases, because actually let me get rid of the drawings. Exit drawing. Edge cases. This is an edge case right here, that the sum of the length of the strings is 0. So you got to look at this and make sure that it's going to work if the sum of the length of all the strings is 0, meaning that either A is empty and there aren't any strings, or all the strings are empty strings. And actually, now that I look at this, I don't really like it, but let's say that there is at least one string in A and it's an empty string. Let's say we have one or more empty strings in A. So we'll say while true, we'll drop in here. We will get the first word in A, which is an empty string. We will check and see if J is greater than or equal to the word length. Now J is 0 at this point. We initialize it to 0 on line 6. So yeah, it is greater than or equal to the word length, and then we'll return longest, which is an empty string. That's correct. On the other hand, if A is just empty, while true, we'll drop in here. We can't get into the for loop here because the size is 0. So it's going to drop out of the for loop, add a letter to longest, increment J, come back up here to the for loop. This is just going to go forever. So actually we do have a little bit of a problem here. So let's add something. And that is if A dot size equals 0, return. We can return longest. It's empty. All right, let's compile that and see if it works. All right, and submit. Okay. So I guess you could call that kind of a two-pointer problem, one pointer for the word, one pointer for the letters. If you found this helpful in, understanding two-pointer problems, then hit like, subscribe, check out the playlist on screen to keep leveling up your interview skills. The video description and the pinned comment have links to more resources, including a free LeetCode patterns cheat sheet, including two pointers. You can download that immediately, and really you don't want to try to memorize solutions to coding problems. What you want to learn how to do is to recognize patterns in coding problems and be able to implement solutions effectively. If you memorize one solution, then you can answer one problem, which, maybe you get asked at the interview, maybe you won't, but if you learn patterns, then you can solve a lot of problems with just one bit of knowledge. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.